everyone, and welcome back to Drive with Hollie McRae. Today I am very excited to introduce you to Hannah McKillop. Welcome to the sofa.
Thank you, thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure to have you here, and this is one that I'm really looking forward to because I feel like there is a lot that we're going to dig into over the next hour or so. For those of you that haven't come across Hannah, she has an EWRC profile that would make most people jealous and has pretty recently competed in her 100th rally as a co-driver. Not only that, but Hannah is also one of those faces that I very much look forward to seeing around the service park. You are a committed, incredible co-driver, but also a great person to be around. So I feel like this will be a really fun podcast to record. Before we do go much further, however, when I was sort of making my notes and my plans for what we would discuss today, I was trying to rack my brains for when we first met and I couldn't remember. Is it last year, Canaries?
I think it might have been last year in Canaries, yeah.
Because I feel like it's been longer than that. Like that was only a year ago now, but...
Maybe Goodwood the year before, no?
Maybe Goodwood.
But it was probably just like a
passing.
Like...
I feel like we have sort of crossed paths quite a bit, and it's always just like a hi, bye. I mean, I feel like it normally is. That's how a lot of rally interactions do go.
Yeah.
But yeah, over the last couple of months, we've sort of like crossed paths more, whether that's on BRC, ERC, and these are all things that we will dig in throughout the podcast. So let's start with the BRC, shall we? Mm-hmm. This year, Hannah is competing in the British Rally Championship alongside Garry Pearson. As this comes out on Spotify, I believe, it will be a week until the third round of the BRC. But as we are recording this, the second round has just passed. Talk to us a little bit about your British Rally Championship experience so far.
Yeah, it's been really good this year. It's been great. I mean, first round, come out of the first stage and be second was... It was just like one of those moments that I'll remember. It was like there's nothing, that feeling of coming out of a stage and don't quite know where you're going. You know where you hope to be, but you don't know where you're going to be. And the person doing the interview says you're first, second, third, or wherever you wish to be.
Yeah.
It's just that moment of like pure pride and joy, and it's a moment that I wish I could bottle up, but that's what makes it so special because they don't happen all the time. So yeah, the pre-RC's been very good. First round, we showed our pace, but didn't end how we wanted it to. But we picked ourselves back up, and then we went to gravel in Carlisle, and again came out of the first stage and we were right up there, which was just brilliant. So we had we had technical issues all day with the car, and we're kind of battling that, but still we're in the battle for the podium, which was really good. So I don't think we had any clean stages. There was always something that's like, but I feel like gravel's kind of like that. It's not as kind of straightforward as tarmac. So yeah, but in the last service, the M Sport guys worked so hard on the car, and they're just amazing. You just send them a little list, and you don't even have to check if anything's done. It's all just done incredibly efficiently, and to the highest standard. And they're amazing, so yeah.
Can leave you to worry about what you need to think about.
So I just sat and did notes with Garry and went through the final stage, and
with the most incredible view, might I add.
Beautiful.
See that Kielder Forest Service Park? It was stunning.
I mean, slightly windy and dusty, but beautiful.
Very, very windy and dusty, but the views over the lake were just top notch. I got a picture of you and Garry working on your notes. I was like, God, that's not a bad office.
Yeah, I mean, I can't say I've seen the view until you posted that. But yeah, it was lovely. So yeah, massive thanks to everyone at M Sport. Chris and Owen took charge of that service, and just everything got whipped into shape, and it was brilliant. We went out to the last stage. We were sitting third, but we knew that we didn't have loads of a buffer to fourth, and we really wanted to put it. Once you're in that kind of... Once you're there, you're like, right, I want it now. I want the champagne. Yeah. So we went into that last stage, and we had a spin on the last stage, and I think it would have been very easy, because that was kind of at the midway point of the stage that we had the spin. I think it would have been very easy to just give up at that point and be like, oh, we've thrown it away. But no, straight back on it, and Garry drove incredibly on the last stage. watching the in-car of that last stage, it just makes me smile. It was just the commitment, and it was just so good. And we come over the finish line and he said, "I'm really sorry." I was like, no driver ever has to be sorry to me, because everyone's trying their hardest, and that's all we can do. So and we got to the finish line and both our heads were down. And Matt said, "Do you want to know where that left you?" And Garry went, "No." And "You're still third." And watching it back, it's just like we both just go ping.
A very
so
well-deserved third place. Like, you guys fought like mad for that all day.
Yeah.
And I have to say, so I was at the BRC doing reporting for the ITV programme, and the whole morning I feel like I was constantly checking times. I knew where everyone was at. We got to the service, we knew who we had to speak to. The afternoon went by like that.
Yeah.
It was crazy, and we spent a bit of time in Rally HQ and then got sent out to go and try and find some spectators, which was comical, might I add. But because of that, we were like in the middle of the forest. I didn't have any service at all. We were like watching the clock, making sure we had to get back at a certain time, and it was just so chaotic. I didn't check the times once in the afternoon. We got back to Kielder Castle where the ceremonial finish was, and one of the ITV guys was out there like reserving a parking space. They're like, "Right, come in, park here, go. They're holding the podium for you. Go, 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 go." And I was like, I don't even know what's happened. I was like, oh my God, what's happened? I'm so out of the loop. But at that service at lunchtime, I'd said my ideal would be Romit, Will, Garry.
Yeah.
And it happened. And I was like,
well, you can keep saying that at every rally, and just shuffle us up.
I'll get you up there. I'll get you up there. We'll be on it for the next one. But no, it was just fantastic, because then hearing sort of what you guys had gone through in the day, does that make it sweeter when you do get to spray the champagne?
Yeah, I suppose it does. It makes it all worthwhile. But we're both very focused on what we want, and we never go into that kind of deflated. Obviously in East Riding we did whenever we were standing on the side of the road like, this is horrendous.
Yeah.
But yeah, we try to keep going, and it does make it all the sweeter. And like, I always, with every driver, when you achieve something that you've worked so hard for, I'm just so proud of them. It's like, I know it's a team, but then the driver has to drive. And it's the same with Aoife last year in the Cambrian. She set some really good stage times, and like, just the pride I have for them, because I know how much it means to them. And it's just like that feeling of, and like leaving that last stage on our way to Kielder Castle, like there was tears in my eyes. It's really emotional. I don't know why it's emotional. It's not, we were third, like we didn't win, but it was just like you put so much into it, and it's your focus for so long to then just get the result. Is like I watched when Rory McIlroy won last week, and he just broke down on the floor like that. You can see that release of everything he has put into it, and all the sacrifices he has made, and everything he has worked for. It's like a release of like pure joy. It's really special.
Oh, I love it. I love how passionate you are about your role in the car, and it's clear that you have so much admiration for the drivers that you sit with, while also being a huge part of their experience. Like, they're not going to be able to do it without you, and it's clear that you value their partnership so much as well.
Yeah.
And with Garry, you've obviously sat alongside him for years now in various different events.
Yeah.
But this is your first sort of full championship attack with him.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
How does that feel?
Yeah, really good. It feels, so I've worked with Garry for maybe three, I think this is the 4th year. I know, I can never quite remember, but anyway, it's 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
Post-COVID. And he contacted me and he said, you've been recommended as someone who can do logistics and organisation for my events. And I was like, sign me up. This is right up my street, because that's my thing, is organising, and in motorsport even better. So yeah, I did all the behind the scenes, the hotels, schedules, telling everyone where to be and when, all that kind of stuff, and didn't go to a lot of the events, but went to a few with him in that first year, and then did a few tests with him. And at that time he's working with Hancock, so he was doing some development days, so he invited me along to those, and it was cool, like being a, because that was when I was just doing clubman rally. I wasn't doing anything professional or anything on a big scale. So it was cool seeing how that all worked, and you know, every single little thing you do is experience, and you pick something up from something. And then I think it was a few years ago, whoever was sitting with me, I can't remember whether it was Dale or Dan, I think it was Dan, couldn't do one of the events, and he said, look, the seat's there if you want it. And I was like, oh, I'll have to go and think about it, because I don't know if I'm up to it, and blah 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 blah. And in typical Hannah style, and my husband was like, just go and do it, like he wouldn't ask you if he didn't want you to do it. So I did, and it was really good. I mean, I look back now and I'm like, oh Hannah, like you knew so little and you were stepping in for Dan Barrett, like what, like what were you thinking? But yeah, it's all learning. So yeah, I've done a few bits on and off with Garry, and always worked in the background, and worked with him on his pre-event stuff as well. So like I know his note system inside out, and
that'll
all
be a
that
huge
kind of
help.
and all the kind of development he's done over the last 4 years, I've kind of been there for. So I kind of feel like I've been on the journey, even though like kind of silently and a lot of it. But so when he asked me to do this year, I was like, yes, there was no let me go and think about that. I'm absolutely doing that.
Yeah, it makes sense. So like all of the little pieces have just been building towards it.
Totally.
You guys know each other, you know how you operate, you know inside out how he likes his rallies to run.
Yeah, exactly.
So it makes total sense. And hopefully the next 4 rallies of the season build on the progress you've made in the first 2.
Yeah.
It'll be exciting to watch it.
Yeah, looking forward to the Jim Clark.
Yes, obviously on home soil for Garry as well, so there's quite a bit riding on it. Have you spoken about hopes for the rally?
Yeah, we're going for a podium. That's our, you know, it's as close as I'll get to a home rally, to my home in Scotland. So it's about 40 minutes from my house. It's right on Garry's doorstep. Yeah, it's going to be interesting, but I think we just kind of have to go into it, prepare like we do for any other rally, and go into it and not let the outside noise of it being a home rally come in, and just pure focus, and the times will be there, hopefully.
Well, we will be watching very eagerly, whether it's people following along at home or people like me out on the stage side, which I'm so looking forward to. Jim Clark was one of my favourite rallies last year. It's
good. I wasn't there last year because I was in, I don't know, Sweden or somewhere with the ERC, so I didn't get to do it last year. And I've done it with my friend Sarah in a little Peugeot 205, and I've done it with a few people, but I've never done it as part of the BRC, so I'm really, really looking forward to it. I was walking through Duns the other day with Garry and Susie, and I said, oh, Garry will be coming up here in the Fiesta, like through Duns Square, like I'm so excited for it, like it's just something special about home rally.
Absolutely. Well, there's our sort of very up-to-date take on motorsport from Hannah McKillop at the moment, but let's rewind it right back to the start. Talk to me about where your initial interest for motorsport came from.
So my dad is a mechanic, so he prepared cars all of my childhood, all sorts of things, like there was Astras, there was C2R2s, there was DS3s, there was S2000s, Mark II Escorts, everything and anything. So yeah, I always kind of had an interest.
That was in Ireland as well.
Yes, I grew up in Northern Ireland.
Kind of hard to escape rallying
in
Ireland
it's all
at that
around.
time as well.
It's all around. And one of the stages of the Ulster Rally actually went past our house for a few years, which was kind of cool as well. So yeah, I mean, I was always into it. I was always at events with my dad. Like, Dad used to call me a shadow because I would just be like following behind him, and he'd go take a step backwards and he'd trip over me and be like, Hannah, move, get out of the way. so yeah, I was always, and I suppose anyone at home that knew Dad would have like known that I'd be not far behind him. So yeah, I spent a lot of time in the garage. Mum tried her very, very best to divert me into music, drama, ballet, everything, which I loved. Like, you know, I loved all that. I did lots of drama, lots of music, and ballet from I was 4 till I was 19, I think, when I left home. But rallying just stuck. And then I met my now husband, who he's co-driver as well. And he is a really good co-driver, and he taught me everything. And he made me start, basically, and he said, just go and do it. Just go and try it and see how you go on. And he taught me so much, and many like heated conversations like, why'd you not do it this way? Because he knew so much. He knew way more than I could ever take on in one event when I first started. But he has taught me so much, and he always, his motto for co-driving is think about how you can make your job easier and think about how you can make your driver's job easier. And it was something I never really paid attention to until kind of maybe the last 5 years. And I was like, oh, actually he's right, I should probably listen to that. so that's how I started, and but spent a lot of time in the garage, spent a lot of time in service areas. So that's kind of how I remember sitting revising for my GCSEs in a bucket seat on the garage floor, and Mum would be ringing out to Dad, send her in, she needs to go to bed. And I'd be like, just 10 more minutes.
Like, leave me to it.
That's like my line, just 10 more minutes. Just 10 more minutes.
How good.
Yeah, I loved it.
So it's always been around in one form or another. And I love that it was like your romantic relationship that's built your career into what it is now. Like, what are the chances of that? How did you guys meet?
We met at the Ulster Rally 12 years ago this year, which was crazy.
Wow.
But yeah, I had seen him around, and then I was marshalling, I was doing a service out control, and he came over to ask something, and I knew he had crashed the weekend before. Because I said it on Facebook, and I said, oh, what happened last weekend? And he looked at me, he was like, how does this random woman in the middle of Northern Ireland know what happened to me last weekend? And I said, I wasn't stalking you, I promise. And then he messaged me on his way home on the boat, and that was it. We flew. He lived in Newcastle in England, I lived in Northern Ireland, so we flew backwards and forwards every weekend to see each other. And of course went to lots of rallies. So.
It's like a real rally romance.
Yeah.
Got to love it. So you moved over to Scotland, was it at first, or did you move to England?
Where did I move to? I moved, so my degree was 2 years, then a placement year, and then a final year back in Northern Ireland. And my placement year, I was like, I've always known I didn't want to stay in Northern Ireland. I don't know why, but like my family always said they knew I would never stay. I think I always knew I wanted to work in motorsport, and I was very realistic in that if I wanted to do that, I needed to go to M Sport or somewhere across the water. But by this time I had met Josh, and I was like, I am out of here for this placement year. I am gone. So I could not get a placement in motorsport. I must have had a horrific CV or something, I don't know, but could not get a placement in motorsport. So I settled at the very, very last minute for a placement with a production company in Edinburgh. And at the time, Josh was living with his friends in Scotland for work, so we just kind of made it work in that year. And I'll never forget the day I had to leave Scotland to go back home for my year placement, to like move back home, and I just thought it was like the end of the world. I sobbed the whole way from from the Scottish borders to Stranraer. I was like, this is horrendous, but you know, it's actually the best year. It was really, really good. I loved it. We did loads of rallying, finished my degree, and yeah, that was it. So then when I finished that, then in the meantime I had met a guy called Ross Leach, who owns the Forest Experience Rally School, and he had just bought it like literally the month I met him, and he knew about my degree in events management and motorsport, and probably seen my like enthusiasm to just like launch myself into anything to do with motorsport. And he said, will you come and work for us? So then when I finished my degree in Northern Ireland, then I moved to Wales. And my husband at the time, well, he wasn't my husband then, but my boyfriend at the time had said, you're the one with the degree, so wherever you need to go is where we'll go, which was really, really good of him. So we moved to Wales.
We love the logic.
Yeah. so we moved to Wales, and we were there, I think, for a year or a year and a half, and it was just the craziest year. Like literally there was me and Ross's cousin. I was 21, Ross was like maybe 24, 25, and his cousin was 19, and the three of us were left to run this rally school. Like, who thought that was a good idea? Like,
love it.
But it was amazing, and I learned so much in that year, and I just loved everything about it. It was so hard. So hard. Like, just, it was just like battle after battle after battle, but so good. So good.
Some incredible life experiences, I can imagine.
So good. And some of the people you met, and we had celebrities, and we had like really, really famous rally drivers that I was far too scared to speak to, and like, you know, like all this sort of stuff that when I was younger. And now I look back, I'm like, why didn't you just launch yourself into that and go and speak to them? But that just wasn't me then. So but yeah, learned so much, loved that.
I think it's just so cool that you were sort of bold enough and brave enough to throw yourself into something like that. And I think that obviously speaks a lot about your character and what you've then gone on to do in the years since. So how long were you in Wales for?
I think it was about a year and a half.
I
didn't stick it very long. It felt like 10 years.
Just aged you the time that you were there. And did you do any rallying at that point?
So I did. So Ross and I did the Welsh Championship. And when I did my placement year, when I lived in Scotland, when I was working in Edinburgh, I did some rallying then. That was when I started kind of. And I remember I never told my mum I did any. I just would text Dad and be like, doing a rally this weekend, don't tell Mum. Because Mum hated it, still does. But, so yeah, I did a bit then. And then when I worked for the rally school then, I started doing more because Ross was doing more. And yeah, Ross Leach has a lot to answer for, I think, as well. But yeah, there's... so I wish... I say about every part of my life, I wish I'd have kept a journal. Yeah. There's so much that you forget. And there's so many like little things that you forget. But... It's all the people you meet and all the little experiences you have all build up, and they'll come back around, and you're like, God, that's how that linked with that, and I love that. I really love that. Yeah, no, it's incredible that all of these little experiences build to something bigger, and like a little opportunity that you might say yes to leads you down a totally different path to where you are now. Yeah. But it wasn't until sort of post-COVID is when your co-driving really kicked off. Yeah. Was that intentional, or did something change during COVID that you thought, why not go for it? Where did that different drive come from? So I think during COVID, because I couldn't, then I was like, well, now I definitely have to. So before I was very like, I'd got into a little bit of a rut where I was like, I'll only co-drive for Ross. I'll not go drive for anyone else because I was too scared to in case it wasn't good enough or whatever. I was like, he knows me, he knows what I'm capable of. That'll be fine, I'll just settle for that. Which is really bad. But then during COVID, I was like, no, you need to get out of that rut. And if you want to do it, go and do it. And I never ever intended it to turn into kind of professional as it is. Never ever intended that. But post-COVID, Josh was doing some rallying with Tom Williams. And they were going to America, and this was all very exciting and all fantastic. I was so proud of Josh because Josh had done so much rallied out in Germany and done all sorts, and Josh is an amazing co-driver, like really, really talented, and if Josh had have wanted to and had the drive to, he could have been really successful, but he's just not that. He just didn't want to. It wasn't his thing, his total passion.
He wanted to keep the hobby as a hobby.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. So he got the opportunity to go to America with Tom, and I was so excited for him, and they were booking the flights. And Tommy Buckley rang me and he says, Hannah, Josh's passport runs out next week. And I was like, no, it can't. It can't. Like, and I had no clue, and Josh definitely didn't have any clue. So we were like, right. So looked at getting a passport on time. No, couldn't get one on time. Oh my God. So I remember I was sitting on my sofa and Tom Williams rang me and he was like, what are we going to do? And I was like, you're going to have to get someone else because you can't. And he was like, right, okay. And I said, look, I know you don't want me, but if you're really stuck, I'll go. And he went, right, yeah, let me see if I can get someone else. And I was like, yeah, do that, because I was like, I am not cut out for this. Yeah. And he came back to me a few hours later and he was like, yeah, you're going to have to come to America because I can't get anyone else.
No way.
What have I signed myself up for? And me having that conversation with Tom came from during COVID. I said, so COVID was 2020? Yeah. And I said, when everything comes back, I'm going to have a year of yes. And I'm not going to say no to anything. I'm going to have a year of yes. And that year of yes has kind of just spiraled into the last 5 years.
A lifetime of yes.
So that's where that conversation with Tom came from, that I was like brave enough to be like, if you're really stuck, I can do it. You know, not the level that Josh could at that time that Josh could, but if you're stuck, I'll do it. And that conversation probably shaped quite a lot of what I've done so far.
I love it. That's like giving me goosebumps. I love just that attitude of, do you know what, why not? Give it a go, see what happens. And you've then gone on to do a number of rallies with Tom over in North America and South America. Yeah. Talk to us about what it's like rallying over that side of the world.
Yeah, it's really cool. Like everything is American. Everything's bigger and louder and bolder.
It just makes sense.
Everything, but yeah, really, really good. I did 2 events out there with them, and it was really good. And I knew so little. Like I really threw myself into the deep end. But I think it was good because it forced me to learn really quickly and forced me to be like, you need to be good, because Tom's had some really good co-drivers, so you have to sharpen up, and you like, I was very realistic and I'm not going to be at their level in one event, but try your very hardest to do. So I'd keep asking Tom, I'd be like, right, so what would Phil do in this bit, or what would Phil do on the road sections in recce? And I remember him saying, he was like, yeah, he'd sit and tidy his notes, and I still do that. So I'm like, cut down your time at night, do your notes on the road section in recce, even if you only get 2 pages done. 2 pages better than no pages. Yeah. So little things like that. And Tom's very obviously creative and arty, and it was the first time I'd sat in a Rally 2 car, and I was like so petrified, not petrified of the pace, petrified of me keeping up with the pace in my pace notes. And Tom was like, well, that page is very white, why don't you put some colour on it? I was like, some colour? I was like, but it's nice and neat. He was like, why don't you highlight like the really tight corners? And I did, and I still do that now. So the 2 tightest corners on the scale of whatever driver I'm with will get highlighted in yellow, and the finish gets highlighted in green. It just stuck, and and he was like, and why don't you use a coloured pencil to underline where you want to keep reading? Still do that in green or red. So like little
I love
things
it
like that.
You're able to just pick up different things from different drivers, and it totally shapes the way that you go about your job now. Yeah. And you've co-driven for some incredible drivers in your time. Yeah. Obviously we've got Tom Williams and Chris Ingram, and rallying with him last year. Yeah. As well as Jo Armstrong, Scottish Championship. Like, there's some really, really big names that you'll scroll past on your EWRC profile. Tell us about the Scottish Championship first and competing in that. Yeah,
the Scottish Championship holds such a lovely place in my heart. I just loved that. That year was just brilliant. I knew it would be going into it. It was Cammy Fair who has got me so many of my lovely seats. So it was Cammy Fair who rang me and he says, I'm putting you forward. I can't do next year with Jog, so I'm putting you forward. I was like, with Jo Armstrong? No way can I do that. I'm not good enough. But then he was like, no, you'll be fine. So that was just such a good year. Jog is just such a joy and he's a character in front of the camera, but in the car we had some amazing conversations, and about life, about business, about and he's just an amazing person, and he taught me a lot as well. I would always arrive at time control like 5 minutes early and just sit there and twiddle our thumbs, and he's like, no, this Subaru, it can't sit and overheat, so we need to arrive at time control on our minute. And I was like, this is making me sweat thinking about this, because then you're running the risk of being late, right? Yeah. But he was like, no, this is what we need to do. And he was like, you can do it. And I was like, can I park 2 miles away and still get there like right on the minute? And I did. And I did it every time. And every time we do it, you go, well done.
Getting pushed out of your comfort zone.
Totally getting pushed out of my comfort zone. And he was just great. I mean, Galloway Hills, which is his home rally, we were still in the fight for the championship because we'd been leading it, and I got there and it's like 20 minutes before the first car, no Jog. And I think we were car 2 or 3 or something. My memory for statistics is terrible, but I think we were like car 2 or 3 or something like that, but no Jog. And I'm ringing him, no answer. And then nothing. And I went to the mechanics, I was like, have you heard from him? Nah, I think he was leaving Castle Douglas like 10 minutes ago. I was like, he's what? Oh my days. He's what? And he got there, and honestly, like, I couldn't control my rage. I was so cross. I was like, do you know how much pressure I'm under at this moment? And you're adding to that. Like, so we got in the car, and we just sat in silence to the first stage. Oh my god! Like, I wasn't like, I would never ever hold it against him completely, but I was just like, I have a job to do, and you have messed with it, so I'm just going to do my job for now, and you can just sit there and think about the world going by.
Think about what you've done.
And we come out of the first stage, and in the road section, he was like, "I'm really sorry, Hannah." I was like, "There's no problem. Just don't do it again. just don't put me in that position again."
Yeah.
But yeah, and he still jokes about it now. And I said to him, I was like, "I'm sorry for getting huffy about it. I shouldn't have done that." But yeah, he's so good. I love him to pieces. He's brilliant. So we were supposed to do a rally in November. We were supposed to do Grisdale. And I was so looking forward to it, just for a laugh with him and have some fun. And he loves Grisdale, so it got cancelled because of weather. But we might fit it in this year.
Nice. Pop it in, add it into the calendar somewhere. But all those relationships, like between driver and co-driver, it's such an important part of your job, and you spend so much time together. Obviously inside the rally car, but in the weeks around a rally, over the phone, doing your planning and all of that sort of stuff. How difficult is it to sort of manage those relationships with different drivers? Because obviously you've worked with a whole range of different people. Do you find you need to sort of switch it up and experiment with what approach works with certain people?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, first of all, I've always said, you will not fit with every driver that you sit with, and every driver will not fit with every co-driver they have. People, I think, don't give that enough respect. You know, like, we're not friends with everyone. Yeah. So how on earth could you get on with every co-driver or driver? You know, so, but when you find that person, if you're a driver, not if you're a co-driver, because you don't get a lot of choice, but if you find that person, it's really important. You'll know, you know, you get like that, like, innate relationship where you know what they're thinking and you know what they're going to do next, and you don't even have to speak about it, and it's lovely. It's a really special thing. With Aoife, like when we go to ERC events, we leave on a Monday and we spend every single minute together until we leave the next Monday. Like, you know, it's just the most intense week, and you have to get on with the person. You can't, I mean, it would be the most frustrating week on earth if you didn't get on with that person. But yeah, there's definitely things that you have to do differently with different drivers. So Aoife, I hadn't done it with her since the Cambrian last year, so it was like 6 months, but we talk all the time, but like we hadn't done a rally together. The first couple of days when we were in Spain, I was like, there's something I'm missing here, there's something I'm not getting. And obviously I'd already done 2 rallies with Garry in that time, and I realised that Aoife's very like, I tell her what to do, where to be and when. Don't discuss it. Just like, this is what we're doing and this is when, because that's just how she operates, you know. She's not a chaotic person, but she's not organised. So I'm that person. Yeah. Whereas Gary's very organised, and we'll like have a conversation about it, like, right, photo shoots at 6, first stage is at 7, so do you think we should eat before that? You know, it's a very conversational thing, and generally we're on the same page. Whereas with Aoife, she's like, just tell me what to do. so I kind of, there's definitely differences that you have to allow for, but that's like a lovely part of the job. You know, it's really, really nice. And, you know, I know on recce, Aoife will want to eat somewhere nice, and you know, like what she likes to eat, so don't take her to a sushi restaurant. Yeah. You know, like little things like that. And she said as well at rally, she was like, oh, it's so that you just know what I want. And like, I think it's really important to try and pick up on those things. But also it works the other way from driver to co-driver. So, you know, like, I don't like being up at midnight, so, you know, let's get the work done through the day, and then we can have a half early night. That never happens on rallies, but
you can
try our best.
Yeah, I suppose it's like figuring out what makes people tick in the most efficient way to do things, which I suppose you get a lot of from your day job as well. Like, you're able to carry that into it quite nicely. But for now, let's dig into Aoife Raftery a little bit, because she is another driver you're sitting alongside for a full season this year in the European Championship instead. And you've obviously got little bits of experience working with her in the years gone past too. Tell us how your partnership with Aoife came up.
Aoife, she's a gem, first of all. She's amazing. I love her to bits. But she rang me and she said, how are you doing? Will you come and navigate for me? And I was like, Yeah, no problem. Yeah, that's fine. She says, I might do an event out in Spain in next week if you're around. Right.
There's the organisation thing ticking off already.
Like, right, okay. Yeah, no problem. So at that time, I did have the flexibility to go and just drop everything and go. So we went out to the rally was called Pozo Blanco, which in a lovely twist of fate is where one of the stages on last weekend's ERC Spain, the first round of the championship, where it started.
Oh.
So we did a full circle. We came right
That's
back round.
So nice.
It's like the most random little village in the middle of Spain, and we ended up back there for the first round of the ERC. So
that's great.
So that was really nice. That's a little side story. So yeah, she rang me and or no, actually we did an event in Ireland first. Yeah, we did an event in Ireland and then went to Spain like the next week. We just got on. We just really got on well, and I just find her like she's just hilarious, and she makes me young. Like she makes me young. She makes me take myself less seriously, and she makes me be less not less organised, but more free spirited, and just like everyone will sort itself out. Don't be worrying about that. It doesn't matter what time your flight's at. We'll get there. So I hope I have shaped her in some way, but she has definitely shaped me in different ways.
That's so nice to hear.
So so that's how we started. We did a gravel event, and then we did a tarmac event in Spain as well. Got on well. And then I was unsure what I was doing, and then I was doing Monte Carlo with Chris, and that kind of consumed a lot of the first part of my year last year. And that was amazing, like really, really amazing. But I always knew that was temporary because Alex was just taking a bit of a break for family stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then Aoife came back on. She said, I think it was the week before Hungary last year, which was the first round of the junior championship out in Europe. Week before again, she said, can you come to Hungary next week and we'll do the ERC? And that was all an event by event last year. But it was amazing. We had again, wish I had a road journal. You know, like just so much happened last year, and just like in the best way. You know, we finished every single ERC event, and I think that's an achievement.
Which is a
in
huge
itself.
Achievement, yeah.
Especially with the likes of Hungary, when the car is just getting completely battered, and we're getting battered, and it's hot, and you're changing tires, and it's just like the ERC events are so hard. I think a lot of my friends think that I'm away on a jolly, and it's like
gallivanting around Europe.
I have no idea like how hard it is and how intense it is. The bit in the stage is probably the easiest bit. Like sitting reading pace notes, the easiest bit. But so yeah, got on really, really well with Aoife last year, and then she said, "Well, I'll come aboard again this year." So
gave you a bit more than a week's notice.
A bit more than a week's notice this year, yeah. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to this year with her. We're with a new team. We are with HRT Racing, who are a Hungarian team. And we worked with them in Spain. They were fantastic. We had Ate, who is the team manager, and Mate, who's our engineer and chief mechanic. And they're just brilliant. They're just lovely. They're there for us and can't do enough for us, and do a really, really good job. And it was lovely. It was really, really good. Obviously, still a very hard week. It's just so intense. But we probably didn't get the start to the championship that we wanted. But for Aoife, tarmac isn't her preferred surface. So going into it, she was like, "Oh, I'm not sure about tarmac," and I was like, "Look, you have to learn to love it. Like, you know,
you're doing a very championship,
and you're improving all the time. You know, like look at the improvement. Don't think about not liking it."
Yeah.
So, and I mean, her splits, we never really got a clean stage with one thing and another, but her splits were coming right down and were the lowest that they've been on tarmac. And you know, again, so proud of her, and she doesn't give herself enough credit. She's so hard on herself, but I think she's really looking forward to Hungary.
Good.
Get back on gravel, back where she's comfortable. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to this year with her. There's quite a few events outside of the ERC that I can't do with her, but that's just how it goes, because there's clashes with other things that I'm doing. So
you'll be there when you can.
I'll be there when I can, and I'll always be watching the times, and send her little messages.
I think at the moment, is she still in America or will she be back already?
I think she's just got home, yeah. So she's just got back from America. So unfortunately that clashed with Carlisle.
Yeah.
But I mean, she had Krista with her, who you know, I'm sure was amazing, and she's got great links with Dirtfish and everything. So it all kind of worked in nicely. So yeah, it was interesting watching her times out in America. And I think on one of the stages she was just 10 seconds down on Travis Pastrana in a totally different level of car. So
that's iconic.
So amazing.
It's incredible.
Like, she is a force. She is like just really, really so proud of her.
And I've got out my phone here as well so that I can read these letters in the right order. You're entered into one of the rounds of the ADAC Opel Electric Rally Cup. Yes. That's a tongue twister. I want to say ACDC. Talk to us about that opportunity and how that's come up.
Yeah, so I don't really know the ins and outs, but it was another EFA. Could you keep this weekend free because we might be doing this? So, so yeah, we're Germany Electric Cup, which again is another little bit of a full circle moment for me because I went to Germany for 2 years with Josh, my husband, and he did the Opel. It wasn't Opel then; it was the Adam Cup out in Germany for 2 years. So. Again, another, like, you never know when you're going to end up back somewhere, and it's nice to be going back, so I hope to see some familiar faces when I'm out there. But yeah, the electric rallying's definitely a new one for me, so it'll be really interesting to see what the car's like and how it handles, and yeah, it's going to be very different, but I'm looking forward to it.
That one you will need to keep a journal for.
I know.
All the comparisons that will come from that, and just there are bound to be so many new experiences and
I can't imagine
ways of doing things.
Going to be like in a car with no noise.
Yeah, well, it is. It's all of these just little opportunities that are coming your way, and a lot of them, especially with IFA, coming from people that are so enthused about getting women involved in motorsport at the moment, and there isn't really many better sort of figureheads than Aoife to be promoting something like that, because as you say, she's such like an exciting, dynamic young driver. Yeah. Obviously, Motorsport Ireland do so much for young drivers in Ireland and around the UK, around Europe. How much of that do you get involved in being Aoife's co-driver? Is there certain things that you need to fulfil?
It kind of just depends on what it is, but obviously, you know, having an all-female team in the ERC is, you know, it's quite cool. It's you know, it's pretty. It's not groundbreaking, but there are others. But I think Aoife's just such a character, an approachable person, smiley, happy. You know, she has a great way about her, and I think that's why people have really taken her on board and really taken her seriously. And she's quick, you know, she's getting results, she's getting the stage times. So yeah, I mean, I will do anything to support her and anything that she needs me to do. But I think it's kind of like last weekend, ITV were interviewing me about, you know, being a female in motorsport, and it's not something I've ever seen as a barrier. I think because I've just always been around it. Yeah. I don't think anyone should see it as a barrier. It's nearly annoying sometimes when people do. You know, it's amazing that you're doing this. Well, why is it amazing? You know,
like, I'm enjoying myself. This isn't a challenge. Like,
you know, why is it amazing because I'm a woman? But anyway, you know, that's fine. If it gets more people into the sport and it gets more people to sit up and listen, then great. Yeah. Bring it on.
I had a very similar conversation with Gail White in one of my recent podcasts about how, for her, she was always going to do that job. She always wanted to do that job. She didn't go into M Sport wanting to fulfill a quota of females in the service park. And I think that is something that's really quite important. I feel as though a lot of women that are involved in the sport just now are there because they want to be there, whether it's through like family connections, they've grown up in the sport, they've seen how wonderful it is, they want to be involved in it. They're not doing it to be a woman in motorsport. But I suppose we're at the point right now that hopefully by showing that you can be a woman in motorsport and showing that it is an accessible opportunity, maybe we'll get more women involved in the sport that maybe don't have that family connection. Yeah. And so as you say, like, it's not groundbreaking stuff that you're in a service park. Like, you've been in a service park since you were a young kid. But hopefully other young girls that maybe only watch rallying on TV, by seeing people like yourself and Aoife, they'll think, oh, maybe I can do that too, which is only going to be a good thing in helping the sport progress further.
Yeah,
So.
definitely. I really hope so.
Shall we do some quick fires?
Go for it.
Tell us the most memorable rally of your career.
My 100th rally that I won.
Absolutely. We will come to that one in just a moment as well, because that deserves a little chat all of its own. Next one, what's the favourite rally car that you've competed in?
Oh, I love them all.
There's a big variety as well.
I'm really sorry, I'm sport, but I loved the Skoda RS, the Skoda that I did Monte Carlo in. It was just an amazing car, but the Fiesta Rally 2 is an amazing car too.
Got to keep it political. What is an event that you would love to compete in?
Ooh. Ypres.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's a bucket list one.
Yeah, for sure. The stories that come out of Ypres are great.
Yeah.
There's one that my grandpa absolutely loves. He's done it a number of times, and it's a name that sticks in my head. I think it's because it's quite a funny name when you're a child. Yeah. And Gramps would go and do it in the historic classes more recently, and those are the times that I can remember. And I'd be like, Ypres. So it's something that I always do remember. And Belgium's somewhere I've never been.
Oh, so amazing.
I need to go.
The rallying's incredible.
Right. We'll both get it done. We'll both be there. Next one, what is the biggest rally heartbreak or event low that you've experienced?
Oh gosh. East riding this year was a hard one when we were doing so well. And then standing on the side of the road was just heartbreaking. I could see like how broken Garry was by it. Just like that was hard. But it would have to be the Scottish Championship, not winning it. It was so close. We were leading, going into the last round, leading the championship, and Jock, bless him, he's won it however many times. Again, not good with stats, sorry Jock, but he has won it loads of times, and he wanted it so badly for me, and just like championships don't really bother me. Like I do it for the individual event, but it got to the point where it was like so close.
When it all comes down to that one event
so
as well.
Close. And then on the first stage we hit a massive rock in Kildare. And that was it. And lost it by I think a point in the end.
Oh.
And I remember standing at the finish in Kildare Castle, and like there were so many people there like that I knew, and they were all talking to me, and I just wanted to go and cry.
Oh,
I just
no.
wanted to go and cry. And I was like it was really gutting because it was so close. So it was nice to return to Kildare Castle last week and be on the podium.
Yeah, go and put some wrongs to right. Yeah, I can imagine, especially if you've had just such a brilliant season with so many great memories, it would have just been the cherry on top of the cake.
Totally.
One that's just escaped you.
Yeah, I'll be back, Scottish Championship.
You've already conquered Kildare again. Now
Yes.
It's time to take on the Scottish Championship one more time.
We actually, on one of the stages last weekend, there was a massive rock on the line, like a huge rock on the line.
I've heard about this.
Like, I don't know where it came from, but anyway, it was massive. I was like, not again.
I can't know who would have told me about that.
I think Max probably came across it as well because he was in front of us.
And they were like, I don't know how it got there, because if it was a car that had brought it there, it would have wrecked the car. It was almost as if it'd been placed.
Yeah.
I can't remember who it was. It was
Kilder's
talking about
nasty.
that. Yeah, it was my first time in that part of the world. Incredible, but oh my goodness, such a challenge.
Yeah.
I went up to Will to interview him at the first service, and we were waiting for the cameraman to get his shot all set up, and Will just looks at me, he's just like staring at me for a bit. He's like, "You're covered in gravel," and I was like,
"Have you seen how
yes. I was like, "We are here." I was like, "You were one of the first cars to spray gravel on me this morning, so thank you." But no, it was class. It was a great addition to the calendar.
Yeah, it was good. It was nice not having the journey home from Wales as well.
I know it's all been a little bit closer to our end so far.
It's really nice.
The end of the season will be a bit trickier.
Yeah.
Next one here. What is an experience still on your motorsport bucket list?
Ooh.
This could be anything. It could be your own career. It could be spectating. It could be...
Oh, I really want to go and see... So with Weira, who is one of Garry's sponsors, we went to their launch day because they have Alliance Racing Academy, so all the drivers are part of this academy. And I've never been to a circuit race. A lot of them are circuit drivers. I've never been to a circuit race, so I want to go to a Porsche GT3 Carrera Cup Championship event. So
Nice.
I'd like to.
Yeah, something a bit
It's
different.
very different, yes, and clean and probably quite warm. And
Not
nice.
so gravelly there. Get the sunnies on, just kick back.
Yeah, I mean, there's loads of rally things that I'd like to do as well, but that's one kind of off-piste.
A bit of variety.
Yeah.
Brill. And last one here, who is someone that you'd like to see on this podcast going forward?
Ooh, someone that I'd like to see. Aoife.
Oh, yes. Got to get her over.
Yeah.
We need to get, up until now, obviously because Drive is still very new and I've just very much been filming them as and when I can, but looking to get them out in a regular time slot. So everyone that we've managed to get onto the sofa so far is from Scotland, England area, all people that could get here quite easily. But I've got a list of people on my laptop that I've been reaching out to that they're like, if you ever happen to come to Scotland, please do. Because I'm not expecting anyone to fly over for it, but let me say, I've got a few big names that the moment they touch down in Scotland, I will be grabbing them and pulling them into this studio. And Aoife can be one of those as well.
Yeah, I keep saying to when we stopped after the Cambria, we were like, oh, we've got loads of time now. We'll catch up. We'll all go karting together. Come over to mine. We'll all go karting. We'll go for a nice meal. We'll get everyone round up. Max, Hollie, Garry, like everyone over. Does it happen?
It's just chaotic.
Because there's always something.
There's so much going on before a rally starts. And then the moment it finishes, it's like everyone just scatters. Yeah. And you're like, oh, okay, cool, what was that?
Yeah, totally. So yeah, it is on my list to get everyone together, and like the guys that work with us on the rallies, and Josh and my friend Sarah, she rallies as well. And I'd love to just get everyone together, go karting one night or do something like that. But it's like the impossible task.
We need to try and make it happen because it would be so fun.
Yeah, it would be good.
Like that's the times that the stories get made. Like
exactly.
When you hear stories of like my mum and dad and what they used to get up to around rallies with their peers and stuff, I'm like, I want some stories like that of my own. So maybe go-karting's where it starts.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, we mentioned it at the start of the quick fires, and we do need to look back round to it. Your 100th rally start was at the start of this year. That's a huge milestone to reach. Tell us about that rally in particular, and then we can sort of talk about what built up to it.
Yeah. So last year, Aoife and I were on a really long HRT road section. I don't know where it was. I think it was in Sweden or somewhere. And she was on my HRT profile. I can't remember what we were looking at. We'd been talking about something. I think we've been talking about how we might have crossed paths when we were really young, when her brother was rallying and I was with my dad and Martin McCormick in the C2 Championships. There was some crossover there, but obviously she'd have been a lot younger than me. So I think we were talking about that and trying to figure out things. And she was like, you've done 80 whatever events, like you'll be coming up to your 100th. And I was like, oh, right. So since then, I'd kind of like kept a little bit of an eye on it. And then I actually thought that East Riding was going to be my 100th event. Mm-hmm. But then I think Galway got cancelled. So then it switched to Malcolm Wilson, which was a really lovely event. It's one that I've done with Garry 2 times before. We've had awful luck the 2 times before. I mean, last year we were in the lead, or certainly in the top 2 anyway, and we got a puncture and lost it. The year before we had mechanical issues, so it's one of those events that's kind of like always gotten away from us. Mm-hmm. It's M Sport's home event, and I love the stages. I love Grisdale North and South are incredible stages, but they always seem to get me. There's always something. Like that's where we got our puncture last year, or there's always something in it, and they're amazing stages when they work, because they're just corner, like really intense.
Once you get into a flow with it.
So good. So yeah, I realised it was that, and I didn't tell many people before. I told Garry obviously, and I told like a few people, but not many people like in the team or anything. Like I only told the team at the midday service. So yeah, we set out in the morning. I said to Garry, like, my 100th event, I don't feel you have to win. I'm just happy to be doing it and it be my 100th event with M-Sport and Malcolm Wilson with you. Like, it's
already
just a
really special.
Yeah, it was going to be special no matter what event it was. And we were, again, me and figures, we don't get on. So, like, I don't know, we were coming in the midday service. I think we were like 10 down or something like that, second or third, I'm not too sure. And like, I was more than happy for, like, a podium was grand, because we were only there as a warm-up for Carlisle, so it wasn't
not a lot riding on it.
Yeah, exactly. The aim was to get the mileage, get a good feeling in the car, good pace notes, that was the aim. And then we got to the last service and we just had Greystoke to do, so it was the last service. We were like, right, let's throw everything at this. So literally everything came out of the car. I had no co-driver bag. I had no nothing. I was like, I feel so lost. I've got no bag.
Yeah.
I literally had a time card, road book, my pace notes, and that was it. But the reason why it got so serious with getting everything out of the car was because we were tied with Marion Evans and Dale Furness.
Yeah, it was a close one.
Like, completely tied. And as we were going into the regroup, going into service, like, I know Dale quite well. From doing the ERC last year, and I went up to Dale. I was like, Dale, it's my 100th rally. Just pull a handbrake or do something. Come on, like. And he was like, absolutely no way.
Trying to slip him a tenner. Like, come on, mate.
He was like, absolutely no way. So it was such a cool way to go into the last stage, and we just kind of had a laugh on that on the way to the first stage, or the last stage, sorry, because I think sometimes you can get so overwrapped with it being the last stage and how much is on it kind of thing. So we just chatted through it, right, this is what we're going to do, and just typical Garry style, like so calm, calculated, like just pulled up to the line, and he was like, right, and I was like, you don't have to win. Like, obviously we're going to try, like, that's what we're here for, but like, don't have to win.
Yeah.
And he drove that stage and it was just so good. Like, he just drove it so well, and I could tell he was trying it. And in my, like, obviously I was reading pace notes, but like, there's a few straights in Greystoke, and I was like, oh, please don't be doing that for me, because if you put it off, I'm gonna feel so guilty.
Yeah.
And like, I'm just like just don't be trying just for me. Like,
yeah, there's just so much weight around you both in the car. Like,
So we got to the end of the stage, and Mez was running behind us. So we got to the end of the stage, and we didn't know. Like, we just came out of the stage, went through the control, and as we finished the stage, we both said we couldn't have done any more. Like, that was, it felt good, and if that wasn't enough, then that's
fine. Yeah.
So, and then we were going down the road section, and the signal's so patchy, so like, Garry was like, refresh, and I'm doing my time card, like trying to sort everything out, because I'm like, I still have a control to do, like, the rally's not over. And he's like, we've done it.
Incredible.
So I think Marion got a puncture in the last half kilometre, he clipped a rock or something, but
you're like, haha.
Which, I mean, that was
put that there
before. So, but no, it was a really, really good battle, and 100th event.
What a story! Cool. Like, such an incredible milestone in your co-driving career, and to have it on, you say it's an event that was so special to you, to Garry. You were putting right wrongs from the years before, and it just all worked together perfectly. Yeah, it was so good. And again, like, M-Sport, Garry, like, so incredibly thankful to everyone around. Like, my friend Sarah and Natalie, they come over to it, and like, they come to quite a lot of events, and like, they have no, like, they like rallying, but they have no need to, and they come and they support, and they never bother me. They just, like, you just know they're there supporting, and it's just like, it's really special. So yeah, the whole team, Stephen and Shirt and everyone, it's just so good. So good. It's been some fantastic stories to tell from your season so far, and it's bound to be an extremely exciting one going forward. So we've got the full British Rally Championship season with Garry, the full junior ERC season with Aoife. Is there anything else that you're managing to squeeze in there? Obviously we've spoken about a possible drive with Jock later in the year. Or are we just focusing on those two for now? Because I think it's a lot. Yeah, I think just focusing on those two for now. My calendar's pretty intense. There was chat of going to Barbados, which is the week after Jim Clark, but that's not happening now. And in a way, I'm kind of like, that's quite good, because it would be... give you a bit of breathing space. 4 international events on the trot. So,
Yeah, nothing, but I mean, you never know when the phone will ring.
And you'll be there to pick it up.
Yeah, I'll try my best.
Fantastic. Well, thank you for your time this morning, coming and sharing all of the stories with us. It's been great to sit down on the sofa and to actually just dig into your story a little bit more. As I said at the start of the podcast, we're constantly coming and going in a service park. Yeah. It's nice just to sit down and chat.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
For people that are listening at home, whether it's on the podcast, on the YouTube video, if they want to keep up with what you're up to, do you get posting quite a bit on social media about your rallying?
I do. I'm not the best on social media, but I post I do post stuff when I'm out and about. So, yeah.
Where can they find you if they want to?
Facebook or Instagram. I am Hannah McKillop or Hannah McKillop Davison, which is my married name, but I clung on to my maiden name for rallying.
It's nice to have something that's quite different as well.
Yeah.
For sure. Well, thank you so much for your time. Thank you very much to you guys at home for listening, and I will see you again in what will be, I believe, episode 10 of Drive, the next one. Thank you for listening. Bye.